Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you the 6-fund portfolio that I use on Trading 212 to closely replicate the VWRL, the Vanguard All-World ETF, but for much lower fees. If you want global diversification without the complex stock picking, or you just really want to monitor fees closely, this is the one for you. Vanguard's VWRL is a great one-stop shop to achieve massive global diversification. However, you can replicate the same regional exposure by using multiple different ETFs, and this will reduce the fees that you pay on that investment. Personally, I prefer this approach because it gives me a little bit more input into my investing process, and it also allows me to tailor my exact weightings towards areas that I either believe are going to perform well, or towards areas with high paying dividends that I want to reap the rewards of over time. It's still simple, it's still passive, it's still ETF based investing, but for me, keeping those fees low is of vital importance. Before I share with you my exact weightings, it's important to know that what we're trying to replicate here is the VWRL. Now, the VWRL has an ongoing charge fee of 0.22%, so we want to be trying to beat that with the portfolio we're creating. VWRL also has a current dividend payment of 1.91%. So if we can get close to that or beat that, we're in a fantastic position. So then let's get into it. I build my VWRL Vanguard replication pie using these 6 ETFs. So first of all, we've got VUSA, Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF. This is the 500 biggest companies in the US. My target weighting for VUSA is 62%, and there's an ongoing charge fee for this ETF of 0.07%. Next, we've got VUKE, the FTSE 100 ETF. Now, I have a slightly higher exposure to this than the overall market capitalization of the UK. So I have a 9% allocation towards the FTSE 100, and this is for 2 reasons, one of which being a home bias. You know how much currency at the moment is currently affecting investments, so I'm trying to hedge against that by investing more into the UK, and also because of the high dividend payment of the FTSE 100, which continues to grow my investment pot over time. The ongoing charge fee for this ETF is just 0.09%. Next, we've got the VERX. This is the Vanguard Europe x UK ETF, so it holds all of Europe, all the biggest companies in Europe. My current weighting towards this is around 8%. And the ongoing charge fee for this ETF is just 0.1%. If we then move east, we go to the Vanguard Japan ETF. I target a 7% weighting to Vanguard Japan ETF, and it's got an ongoing charge fee of 0.15%. Next, we've got Vanguard's Asia Pacific x Japan ETF. I target 4% weighting towards this ETF, and again, it's got an ongoing charge fee of 0.15%. Next, we've got Vanguard's Emerging Market Fund. I target a weighting of around 10% towards this, and it's got lots and lots of growth potential from those emerging markets. This is the highest ongoing charge fee throughout the whole portfolio that I put together at 0.22%. While it may be the highest in the portfolio, it matches the VWRL, with all of the other ETFs sitting below that 0.22% threshold. Altogether, this closely mirrors the VWRL and the weightings towards the different geographical locations, but it gives me the freedom, as with the UK, to overexpose myself slightly if I have a reason for wanting to do so. Here's the key point. VWRL's ongoing charge fee is 0.22%. Comparatively, my pie's weighted ongoing charge fee is just 0.098%, which is a significant difference between the VWRL. But essentially, I'm saving 0.122% of ongoing charge fee every single year for approaching investing this way rather than just using the VWRL. I've had lots of comments asking me why I don't just invest in VWRL, and this is the reason for that. For me, it saves a lot of fees over time, as you'll see in a moment. So let's make this really concrete. I want to show how these really small differences can make a massive difference over the lifetime of a portfolio at both 10, 20, 30 and 40 years if you've got that longer investing horizon. For this example, I'm using a £30,000 initial investment and assuming a 7% gross return year on year, which is kind of the standard of the whole stock market. This 7% is obviously before fees are factored in. This is just an illustrative example, and really people will continue to invest into those portfolios over time. It's very unusual that people just invest 30k and then leave it for the rest of their life. You tend to see more and more investments go in. So these are kind of conservative figures. In reality, the gaps are going to be far larger if you do continue to invest throughout the longevity of your portfolio. So the 2 scenarios we're going to compare is that £30,000 being put into the VWRL at 0.22%, and that same £30,000 being put into my 6-fund portfolio at an ongoing charge fee of 0.098%. So this means that the net annual returns of VWRL would actually be 6.78% once the ongoing charge fee is factored in. And for my pie, it would be 6.9024%. After 10 years, the VWRL investment would be worth £57,812, whereas my pie would be valued at £58,478. So a £666 difference approximately. Not massive, but there's still a significant difference there between one pie and the second pie. At 20 years, the VWRL would be valued at £111,409, and my ETF portfolio would be valued at £113,991. So the difference now has grown to £2,582. At 30 years, VWRL is valued at £214,693, whereas my pie is valued at £222,200. So that difference has now grown to £7,507. And at 40 years, if people have started really early, VWRL would be worth £413,731, whereas my pie would be valued at £433,131, which is a £19,400 difference. And in retirement, if that's what you're saving for, that is going to be colossal. That could be your whole year of spending. So you can see the gap is modest at 10 years, but grows materially over decades. This here demonstrates the silent power of compounding. Yes, when it's working for you, it's absolutely fantastic. But if you've also got fees eating into that over time, it's going to make a real difference to the size of your portfolio. And as soon as I realised this and noticed this, the 6-fund portfolio was the best approach for me. Something to also mention here is that whilst we've used the 7% annualised rate of return, both of these different approaches actually exceed this significantly. On the right hand side, you can see the VWRL's annualised rate of return over the last 5 years. This is 11.79%, which is very, very good. But if we compare that to my 6-fund ETF portfolio approach, you can see that it's actually exceeding the VWRL in terms of annualized rate of return over the last 5 years at 12.25%, meaning we're getting an additional 0.46% rate of return every single year by investing in this 6-fund approach over the VWRL. Of course, past performance does not indicate future returns, but it's just worth bearing in mind. And that brings me on quite nicely to dividends. As we said, the VWRL has a dividend payment of 1.91%. So not massive, but still quite nice income into the portfolio over time. When we look through the Vanguard ETFs that I hold in my 6-fund portfolio, however, and you look at their dividend income, and you scale that based on the weighting towards each ETF and the dividend that you get for each ETF, the 6-fund portfolio again outperforms the VWRL. Not massively, but my 6-fund portfolio currently pays me a yearly dividend of 1.9705%. So we are only talking 0.06% of an additional dividend here. But that's not necessarily a small amount. All these things over time mean that you've got more money to make your own decisions around your financial future. And for me, with the fees and the additional dividend, just made sense to go with the 6-fund approach for me. ETF investing can feel boring because you're not hunting for the next big thing. You're essentially buying broad slices of the global economy and letting the compounding effect do the heavy lifting for you. Most active managers fail to beat their benchmarks over the long term, which is a big reason that passive ETF-based investing is the backbone of most people's portfolios out there now. For me, the boring approach means lower costs, fewer mistakes, and a higher percentage chance of achieving better outcomes over time. If you want to have a further look at this pie, I have shared it on Trading 212. I'll also attach a link to the pie in the video description below. It's really important to note here, though, that copying a pie does not replace doing your own due diligence and making sure that you're comfortable with investing in that. This is just my personal approach. It's there if you want it, but investing decisions have got to be your own choice. If you found this video useful, you've learned something, or you just like the look of this pie, please do like the video and drop a comment down below to let me know what your own investing approach is. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. There's a button just below me somewhere down here that you can click, and you'll catch all of my future content, including portfolio updates and other things investing. Remember, low fees compound into real cash over time. My approach is to keep it boring, keep it simple, and let compounding do the hard work for me over time. I'll see you in the next one.